Yeah, well, it started in 1988.
Whoa, way back then.
Yeah, way back then. I was Baptist, but filled with the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit was teaching me, which I didn't even know he was teaching me because I didn't know it was possible. Because I had never heard of anyone going to heaven. But the Holy Spirit was teaching me how to encounter Jesus in heaven. And started with all these trips and showing me fun things in heaven, like there really is an amusement park in heaven. There are dinosaurs in heaven. There's,
Wow. So it's
it's
not
just
just Cat Kerr who's gone and seen that. You've seen those two things as well. That's two that you just listed.
right. I was real excited because when I would come back, like I said, I was Baptist, so I didn't have anyone that I was going to tell.
Yeah, I can
I wasn't going to
understand
go
it.
to church and say, by the way. When I would come back from these encounters, I would write them down. And so I just journaled them for years. And so when came across Kat Kerr, she started talking about the amusement park. And I'm like, I know it's there.
Really
And I had it written down. That was one of the very first places that Jesus took
amazing.
me in 88. And then I've seen the dinosaurs. I got to ride the dinosaurs and just, the ride
You,
motorcycles with
I
Jesus.
remember the motorcycle one. That one stuck with me because I thought, "Now, that's the kind of God that I want to be friends with." And it was Jesus,
Yeah,
I think, riding a motorcycle back,
right,
on
right.
sort of an advanced space age one, as I recall. Yeah, tell people that. You got to tell that. Okay, now we told them. So tell them that story because we just dipped our toe in there.
Yeah, they're gonna like, what?
Yeah.
So on these almost all of my encounters is when I'm worshiping, and then I feel this drawing to step over into heaven. And so when Jesus is wanting to do something with me, whenever I step over, I'm just instantly there on what he's
Wow.
wanting to do. And so I was instantly sitting on a motorcycle. And I used to ride a motorcycle,
Oh,
and
you
when I was
did.
sitting, I did. And so I was looking at them like, I wonder what kind this is. Is this a Harley? Is this a Honda? But it didn't have a name. But mine was red, which I like red, so I was happy about that. And I looked over at Jesus, and he had it like a blue one, and there wasn't a name, so I couldn't tell what it was, but it was really cool looking. And Jesus is like, you want to ride? And I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be fun. You bet. Ride a motorcycle in heaven. What could be
Yeah.
better? And so we took off. And in heaven, you don't have to worry about how fast you go, because you can go fast. And we were leaning way over on the
Gee.
sides, and we're just curves. And it wasn't on the road, but it felt like you were on the road. I know that we were up off the road, even though the road was below us. And I was looking at it, and I thought, how is this running? It doesn't have gas. Is it, what is making this go? And it just felt like it was sucking in the air, and it was using the air of heaven as power. Is the only thing I don't know if it was,
So
but
you
that's
felt like it was, did it have a engine sort of a sound or was it quiet?
it had an engine sound. Yeah,
Okay,
it
so
sounded like
that
a big
makes it
Harley. Yeah.
okay because
It
yeah,
was.
you know what? That's interesting that you say that because I was about to say if God Himself, of course, this is Jesus who is also God. If they were going to do something that would be fun. The Harley guys would want that sound. They would want that whatever we call it. They used to call them choppers, whatever they,
Yeah.
yeah, and they're loud. So it was loud. It was like it.
It rumbled underneath you, and it had
Wow.
the handles, so you weren't just with your arms out flying. You were actually steering the motorcycle, and you could lean over and you'd shift gears, and it was a motorcycle. And we were going around these corners, and then I saw Jesus. You may tell the
Yeah, yeah. Tell it. Tell it. That's my favorite part. What you're about to tell me. So I gotta. You can't not. You gotta hear this, folks. Okay.
And so as Jesus and I were leaning around these corners and going fast, because I like fast. I don't like mopeds. I want to go fast. And so we were going fast around these corners, and Jesus misses the corner and hits a tree, and his motorcycle just kind of explodes. And I come up, I see it, and I come up, and because you have your soul, you have your
Yeah.
mind when you're in heaven. And so my first thought was, oh no, I killed Jesus. I
Oh
am going to
no.
be in trouble, because that's what you think. And so as I came up on the tree and the motorcycle, Jesus is laying there, and he sits up and he is laughing, and he throws his head back and he is just laughing. And I'm like, oh, whew, oh yeah, you can't die in heaven. You know,
can't even get hurt.
You can't even get hurt. There was nothing broken. There was not a cut. There wasn't a bruise, nothing. He was just laughing because that was really fun. And so he stands up and his motorcycle goes, and it comes all back together again.
Crazy.
And I'm like, whoa. And he gets back on. He looks at me and says, you ready? I'm like, oh, yeah. So we take off again.
That's so good.
And I've told that story to different men and different mothers who have lost children to motorcycle wrecks.
Oh, really?
And like their sons, they, had a motorcycle wreck and they're in heaven and they wonder, will they ever get to ride again? I'm like, yes, they get this amazing motorcycle. And I've had men go, I don't want to go to heaven because all you're going to do is sit around and sing Kumbaya with a bunch of old people. I'm like, oh no, you get to ride motorcycles, you get to ride horses.
That's crazy. Well, and first of all, you do not come off as a person that wants to go fast on a motorcycle.
I know, right?
You're just this regular mama or something. I don't know how many children you have, but did you ride when do you have a family? I don't know what your family
and my husband and I, we have five children.
Wow. And did you ride a motorcycle then with the kids? Mm-mm. Okay, you got conservative.
Yeah, I waited till they grew up. I didn't want them to ride a motorcycle.
Oh, and then you rode after that?
And then so after the kids were grown and gone, I'd always wanted one. And so I thought, okay, well, now it's just me. If I get hurt, it's just me on the bike, so it was a 250 Honda. So it wasn't. That's a big, it's good. I wanted one that was big enough that I could stand it back up if I ever fell over, and it never did, but
yeah,
I would go.
I was going to say, when I was in sixth grade, I rode a Honda 50 to school. Because it's old country school, so you could ride on the dirt roads, because obviously I'm not licensed, so I'd ride on the dirt roads and go to this one-room schoolhouse in Santa Paula. And so, but that was heavy for me, and it was it's not like those thin ones they make these days, but it was a pretty heavy bike. At least it felt like that. But 250 is kind of up there.
It is. It was pretty heavy. I was really glad that I never laid it over. So it was one of the very first times I took it out. It was raining. I'm like, oh no. So I called my husband. I'm like, it's raining. He said, just go slow, pay attention. So that's what I did.
Well, so I know we got stuff we're going to get into here in a moment, real important stuff, but what would you say to people, to someone, okay, there's people watching this for the first time, or someone's going to send it to their husband who loves to ride and he's going to get excited, but others will say, that's not in the Bible. There's nothing in there from Adam to John the Revelator. There's nothing about riding a motorcycle. Therefore, there is no possibility that something that earthly would be in heaven. What would you say?
I'm glad you said that, because that's what we're going to cover today.
Oh, it is. Okay.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. So what is in heaven is he made someone, he gave someone the idea to create it on the earth. That's why we have motorcycles on the earth, because we have motorcycles in heaven. They were there first. And then he gave someone on the earth the idea to design motorcycles. And that's why we have motorcycles on the earth.
Wow. That's really good, Kim. That's really good.
And that's why we have, that's why you wear clothes. That's why there's swimming pools. That's why you go swimming. That's why there's boats. That's why you drive a car. That's why there's airplanes. Is
that why there's places like Disneyland?
And like Disneyland, because there was an amusement park in heaven first.
Wow.
And roller coasters in heaven first, because God he's a father and we are his children. And he, and that's one of the things that Jesus said when he was taking me to heaven, and I was experiencing all the fun things. He takes me to the fun stuff. And he told
Is it fun stuff all the time, every time you go? Is that what
probably
you're saying?
90% of the time.
Really? I love
Yeah,
that.
it's which you need that, you know.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I
You can
do.
go on vacation, not ever have to get a ticket. But
Yeah. Oh,
so Jesus said that the reason why he was showing me the fun things in heaven, he said, because people think that all you do in heaven is float around wearing diapers, doing nothing but eating grapes and singing kumbaya. And he said, but I want them to know that I have made heaven fun
yeah, it's so
because I
good.
want them to want to be with me.